back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Federal Executive Council agrees to pull Nigeria out of 90 world organizations in order to save costs and avoid embarrassment. National Judicial Council appoints former President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Ayo Salami, as chairman of a new committee set up to try looters of the economy. House of Representatives summons Controller General of Customs and DSS Chief Officer over influx of small arms and light weapons into the country. And South African unions protest against President Jacob Zuma's continued stay in office amidst high-level corruption allegations. Just a quick reminder that for more on our top stories and others, please visit our website channelstv.com and youtube.com/channelsweb. You can also watch us on the go on your mobile device. Log on to m.channelstv.com or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows phones from their respective stores. Having the Channels TV and Channels 24 app will give you access to news and updates. You also have access to the Eyewitness feature, so you too can be part of the news. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu, and then follow the instructions to share those pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. Let's take a look at some of those pictures that were sent in to us today, and we can begin with this picture of a refuse dump in Mafuluku area of Oshodi in Lagos. Our Eyewitness reporter says it could cause an epidemic if it's not cleared soon. Here's a picture of the Jesha-Tedo route, also in Lagos State. Our Eyewitness reporter claims that the expansion work has been abandoned for 6 years now, and he's calling on the present administration to intervene. Next is this shot of a dilapidated road on White House Road, Efron, Warri in Delta State. According to our Eyewitness, it's been abandoned since 2014. He's asking the NDDC and the state government to come to their rescue. And from Nasarawa State is another area which needs attention. Our Eyewitness is asking the government to reconstruct the road. Thanks for all your pictures, and do send us some more when you can. Partnership and innovation have been identified as key factors in growing businesses and exploring opportunities. And this was part of the keynote address delivered by the chairman of Channels Media Group, Mr. John Momo, at the second annual Fate Foundation Alumni Conference here in Lagos. Participants at the event were among the over 5,000 graduates of the Fate Foundation Emerging Entrepreneurs Program.
It's the second edition of the Fate Foundation Annual Alumni Conference holding in Lagos, with speakers and participants drawn from various professions and sectors of the economy.
I'm a graduate of the AEP4 Fate Foundation program.
The executive director of the foundation welcomes all and sets the tone for the day's event.
It's going to be a very packed learning session, interactive session, networking session from alumni from 2000 till 2017 to date.
The keynote speaker and chairman, CEO of Channels Media Group, Mr. John Momo, harps on the crucial role partnership and innovation play, among other ingredients, in unlocking business growth.
And in the history of Channels, we knew that early. After a while, we decided that we need to leverage on what we're doing on international organizations. So we have partnerships with international organizations around the world. Those who align with our own vision. And these are organizations like the BBC, organizations like the Voice of America, organizations like Deutsche Welle, the German broadcaster. And in fact, we have partnership with the United Nations. As an entrepreneur, you must look out for ways of leveraging on other people who are aligned to your own vision, who can help you to grow.
Every successful venture begins with a dream, but how big should this dream be? The chairman, Fate Foundation, sums it all up this way.
When John was talking about fear, he said, if you are not afraid, then that dream is not big enough. If it doesn't scare you, then
The session comes to an end, and the executive director of the foundation shares with us the reason and lessons of the theme for the year, which is unlocking the growth potential of MSMEs through partnership and innovation.
That was the focus of this conference, to look at how do MSMEs work together, how do they collaborate, how do they start less looking at just the competitive, the negative parts of competition, but looking at things around how do you combine mutual areas of competition and work together to grow and scale businesses.
Earlier on, the organizers presented Fame Award 2017 to a budding entrepreneur, Peter Obadari.
I never knew it's going to come this early, so I'm really elated, and I thank the Almighty God for this great privilege that He has actually given to me. Yeah, and I say thank you to Faith Foundation.
This event is presenting participant lessons on business expansion, sustainability, brand management, and strategic opportunities to explore in agribusiness. Chris Illems, Channels Television News.
A new report by Human Rights Watch is criticizing the Cameroonian government over the deportation of more than 100,000 Nigerian asylum seekers. A senior refugee researcher at the organization, Mr. Jerry Simpson, says the action is unacceptable and insists that Cameroon will remain blacklisted for violating the United Nations regulations for refugees. Mr. Simpson is also disappointed with the decision of the Nigerian government to aid the return of the refugees without maintaining its stance for strict adherence to what the return process for all asylum seekers stipulates.
Cameroon has joined a blacklist of about four countries that are breaching the principle of no forced refugee return on a mass scale. And the other three countries that we have documented in recent years are Kenya, Pakistan, and Turkey. Countries that between them have deported hundreds of thousands of refugees, asylum seekers, or coerced them out. And now, unfortunately, Cameroon has joined that blacklist. Cameroon itself has denied that its military stops asylum seekers and prevents them from receiving protection. It denies that the military has abused any of these people. It denies torture, it denies beatings, it denies sexual exploitation, and it denies violent deportations. However, our evidence and the findings of the UN Refugee Agency starkly contradict those denials, and from what we can tell, Cameroon will soon have to stop burying its head in the sand on this issue and face the facts that it is now on this international blacklist of mass refugee deportation nations.
Now let's cross over to Abuja. Here's Gloria Umezuki. Gloria.
Hello, Ijoma. The lawyer to the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Mr. Ifeanyi Ejiofor, has dragged the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Toko Buratai, before a federal high court in Abuja over his alleged disappearance since the raid on the 14th of September 2017 by the army on his residence. The IPOB leader, in an originating summon, a motion filed by his counsel before the Federal High Court in Abuja, prayed the court to give an order mandating General Buratai to produce Nnamdi Kalu in court on the next adjournment date for the criminal trial he is facing. The motion also has Kalu as the only applicant and the Chief of Army Staff as the only respondent. The grounds for the relief, the application said, include that the IPOB leader was, before he went missing, known to have lawfully exercised his constitutional right of freedom of association, peaceful assembly, and self-determination. The application also said Kalu was still enjoying the bail granted him by the court when the prosecution in his trial requested the court to revoke his bail. The prosecution witness in the trial of former Aviation Minister Chief Femi Fani-Kayode over alleged money laundering today appeared before a federal high court sitting in Lagos for cross-examination. The witness, Mr. Olusegun Idowu, told the court that the Goodluck Jonathan campaign organization is still owing his company the sum of 24 million naira spent on printing of posters for the 2015 presidential campaign. He says the money is a part payment of the 54 million naira billed for the printing of posters and consultancy, which Chief Fani-Kayode was the Director of Media and Publicity of the Goodluck Jonathan campaign organization. Chief Femi Fani-Kayode is standing trial over an alleged 4.9 billion naira fraud alongside the former Minister of State for Finance, Nnamdi Usman, and 2 others. The case has been adjourned till November 20 for continuation of trial. Well, Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed of Kwara State says his government is committed to enhancing the growth of agro-businesses and empowerment of youths. Governor Ahmed explains that his government is committed to the provision of more farmlands to farmers to ensure food sufficiency in the state.
Kwara State, located in Nigeria's north-central region, has a population of over 2 million people. The state is known to be agrarian and one of the major producers of maize, cowpea, and other products. To further increase farmers' produce, the government has acquired over 3,000 hectares of land in Okeoyi and Alateco for agricultural purposes. The Commissioner for Agriculture, Mr. Bamidele Oladimeji, explains that more than 3,200 youth farmers under the aegis of the Kwara Youth Integrated Farmers Organization have benefited from this initiative.
What the Kwara State government is able to do for farmers here is to subsidize fertilizer in that program, such that for each farmers, it will be easy for them to get it at that price which will make them profit. And that's why you have a lot of youths trying to come into it, because they've been able to sit down and look at the cost analysis, which is profitable and favorable to them.
Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed pledges that his administration will continue to create an enabling environment for interested individuals or organizations willing to do agricultural business in the state.
With the advocacy, with the arrangements we have in cooperative systems, with the arrangement we have with individual farm associations, with the arrangement we have with the All Farmers Association of Nigeria, and of course with the value addition that is already going on in some of the sectors. We have some big poultry farms on ground who are huge consumers of inputs like maize and soya. We have the likes of Olam here. So that collectively stimulated the demand and of course translated to a supply need. And we use that to drive our youths into taking this as a means of driving agriculture under a public-private partnership system.
At the end of this harvest season, it's expected that the produce from this farmland will further improve the internally generated revenue of the state.
Well, 3 people are feared killed in Lokoja today after a truck fully loaded with cement lost control and rammed into a tipper and tricycle. The incident, which occurred around 9 a.m., caused gridlock in Natako Junction on the Lokoja-Abuja Road in the Kogi State capital. The sector commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps in Lokoja, Isaac Martins, attributed the mishap to brake failure by the truck. He added that a female student of Kogi State Polytechnic, Lokoja, and 2 other males were crushed by the truck, while 5 other people sustained injuries and are currently receiving treatment at the specialist hospital in Lokoja. When the news at 10 returns, United Bank for Africa announces commencement of annual national essay competition for senior secondary school students in Nigeria. That's after the break. Let's join us again.